Right guys, now I'm going to talk about how to make a simple X base for a mannequin. They're very simple. All I'm using is a basic cedar board, the kind you would use for any outdoor fence or deck. You can buy them in 6, 8, 10-inch width, whatever you wish. So I take an 8-foot length, I cut it into 4 equal pieces. That gives me 4 2-foot pieces. That's usually more than enough to give you the stability that you need to survive stick hits, knife hits. Wouldn't stand up to punching. Here I'm using some 2.5-inch wood screws. I want something fairly long, and then I just put it together in a star formation. Now I have found that if you put a little bit of construction adhesive or wood glue and then screw them together, it does make it a little bit more solid. What I'm using for springs are basic gate springs. They range from 10 to 15 bucks for a single spring. They are incredibly resistant, very, very strong. When you put 4 of them in place there, it gives you a nice stable base. If you attach it closer to the top, it's going to give you a mannequin that swings and can go all the way to the ground without flipping. If you do it closer to the bottom, it's going to be a little bit tighter and a little bit faster. For the body on my knife dummy, what I'm using is basically 3/4 of an inch galvanized pipes. You can get all manner of connections and attachments, T-frames and junctions, and they're all pretty inexpensive. So a basic junction will just screw in. Some of my friends that have built this have used epoxy or sealant to make it tighter. I just screw it on. It's more than tight enough. Next step is I put on a basic pipe insulation as my primary pad, and we're going to discuss and show you the reason why. The initial layer of piping insulation is not enough to give sufficient padding, in my opinion. If I hit that with just a Cali stick, you hear it's like a metal rod resounding. It's a very hard reverberation. You could actually forego this and go directly to a larger noodle. What's important, in my opinion, is that you get a good high-density pool noodle like this one, super nice and thick, has that good crunch. You could get away with putting this directly onto the pipe. It is enough, but in my experience, I like to put a layer of pipe insulation and tape it, and then put this on. Oftentimes, if you do go towards live blade or you start chipping away at this layer, it starts falling apart. When I see the different color of foam, the gray, then I know I'm getting inside, and it usually reminds me to repair it. And it just gives you a little extra layer of absorption without too much weight. This is super lightweight. What I do is when you get it, it's not split like the pipe insulation, so you just got to X-Acto it down the front. And then I'll start applying this from the bottom, just because I'm going to trim the top. So once I get it just loosely on the bottom, I'll just put a placeholder to kind of keep it from popping off constantly, which it's going to want to do. And do the same thing about midway up. In this case, when I get to the top, guys, I want to keep that threaded hole. So what I'll usually do is I'll look roughly to the top, cut off the extra, and I'll look roughly for where the hole is going to be. So the idea here is that I keep that thread hole fully open. Put my arm in there in the front. Again, this is just an option. But now with a threaded front, I'll have an arm in the front. It gives it a good amount of variability when I start hitting that. And you'll see it fits. If you get a big enough diameter, it fits snugly. Push that up right against, and then I want to have a little bit of overlap here, so that if this does come forward and smack somebody, it's not going to hurt them. I usually start by just putting an anchor piece or 2 so it doesn't slide away.